I'm Kishai Chad, and let's queer up the USA view. Heated county board meeting highlights deep divides over LGBTQ library events. A packed meeting of the Augusta County Board of Supervisors highlighted intense community divides following administrative directions to cancel and review public library events focused on LGBTQ plus themes. The public comment period drew dozens of residents, local business owners, and advocacy leaders. Opponents of the events argued that taxpayer-funded facilities should remain neutral and asserted that age-appropriate boundaries were crossed by hosting pride-themed gatherings in public spaces. Conversely, LGBTQ plus residents, allies, and freedom to read advocates voiced strong opposition to the cancellations, arguing that removing inclusive programs sends a harmful message of exclusion and undermines public library access for all community members. County supervisors defended their oversight role, maintaining that additional vetting and administrative review were required for public library scheduling. The ongoing debates reflect broader national tensions over local governance, library collection policies, and public funding for LGBTQ plus programming. I wish that we could just have a overall sense of, in 2026, what exactly is allowed in public spaces. And how would we even go about that? Is it based on your religion? Is it based on your demographics in your area? Like, what is the criteria that would make it acceptable?
Depends upon where you are.
Well, we know what it is. If you ask a Florida politician who's a Republican, we know that if it's a man who entertains as a woman, we know that that's pornographic, and we know that children are not welcome to be there. So we know that, but if you're in Massachusetts, there's no such laws. If you're in a more liberal state, there's no such laws. So it's very, when the founders were creating this great experiment that we call the United States of America, they thought of it as a laboratory of democracy. So every state does things a bit differently in order so that citizens can try out different ways of governing themselves. Florida, for better or for worse, has decided that it's going to go in a very extreme direction socially. We have become a very socially conservative state. Right. And some other states have gone in a completely opposite direction. So I don't think we're ever going to get on the same page when it comes to one blanket standard for what is appropriate and what is not. And just one other quick thing, I was watching, Home Alone, as I'm sure people have seen Home Alone.
Right.
That movie is rated PG. You cannot show that movie in a school these days. That movie has guns in it. It has fireworks. It uses the F word in it. It shoots things.
An abandoned child.
I mean, sensibilities. You would think that as a society, we're getting open and kids are more, their worlds are getting more broad. But as we're, moving into the 2030s, children's lives are actually getting much smaller, even though that they're exposed to so much more on the internet. Yeah. We're becoming a much more sanitized and a much more conservative.
And poorer for it.
Right. And libraries are where people should be able to go to learn about all different things.
Yeah.
And, starting with the book banning. I mean, we're not just talking about kids. We're talking about a public library that all ages access. And if I'm enjoy going to the library, I want to be able to see things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And there's a calendar, and if you don't like it, you don't go that day.
Yeah. I as a kid in the 70s and early 80s in the South, biracial marriage was very taboo still. Jehovah's Witnesses, they were like, it's like strange, scary people to a lot of, you know what I mean? When everything was sort of homogenous, so when someone from another country would move in or whatever, they were very treated with suspicion or whatever. Being and hopefully most of that is done away with, although we have an administration trying to bring that sort of silliness back. But I'm just saying that impulse to say this human or this group of humans or this ethnicity or this race or this nation or the queer community, that there's something about them that is so dangerous and diabolical, kids can't even know about them. That is a level of oppression that we even talk about that as if it's something that we, no, if your life has to be voted on or adjudicated in a courtroom, you are not a free person. Right. And so that people treat queer people as if we are a problem, as if we are a threat. Well, the trans people in particular, they're in sports. What 3 of them? I mean, less than 1% of the whole population is trans. Right. How many of them are athletes? And how many of those athletes are competitive and whatever? But we treat them like they are a threat when they are the ones who are threatened. Exactly. By laws, and because they're dehumanized, they get people just feel free to like verbally assault them, physically assault them, religiously just abuse them, preach against them. So yes, and I've known so many people that their salvation was that one book they found by accident in the school or public library. So by taking away broad education, you might actually be taking away a lifeline from somebody.
Right. Yeah.
But would you say that this is censorship or a war on identity?
I would say it's partly both. I mean, it started with all the books that they started removing books from the libraries. That is crazy. Fortunately, bookstores.
What a library is.
Books. Yeah. I mean, bookstores were selling all those banned books, but it started with banning of the books. Now they're going to ban this group's activities. Next, they're going to ban this group and this group.
And this group can't read these books to these kids.
Exactly. And, we've already seen it in Florida schools where they're rewriting history. And, public libraries should be a place where people could go to find all that information.
I'm not, I just want to push back just a tiny bit, and I don't disagree with the substance of what you're saying, Cindy, but just as an educator in Florida, I'm not going to get too specific, but I am a public school educator, and I do want to say this. For all of the hoopla that we get for the history that gets taught in Florida, a lot of it is sensationalized.
Okay, well,
I'm on the ground. I teach 8th grade U.S. history, and I do have to say that it is very fair what we are teaching. There are some supplemental things that I've heard about, there were some things where they were saying that, enslaved people learn valuable skills that once slavery ended, they were more employable afterward. I mean, like really, that was a supplement that was not required to be used and is not used in my classroom. So I just want to say that there are always going to be like little fringe elements.
So it's not as bad as
it is. I just want to set some people's hearts at ease that as an 8th grade U.S. history teacher...
it still depends on having a good person as a teacher, though.
Exactly.
Well, I'm just letting you know that it is not... I do not get emails every day that says, this is how we are indoctrinating the children. It is not that way. I am a fully functioning, thinking human being with sensitivities as a gay man who looks at these things critically, and I want the public to know that students in Florida, they might not be great readers, and we might need to dial back these tests that we do, but I do want to let everybody in the public know that we are still teaching the correct history here in Florida. Can we spend some more time on certain issues? Absolutely. But are we teaching wrong history? I think that's a bit over-sensationalized. I just want to put that out there.
Okay, well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.